So the Chicago Bears just made a trio of pivotal moves, and there hasn't been an official coaching roster given yet. It's because the Bears aren't quite done. And Bragg Biggs from the Tribune, he just gave us an update on some new staff that were just hired. And I'm telling you, each one of these are vitally important. And there's one hire in particular that I'm going to concentrate on, our new strength and conditioning coach. Such an important job because strength and conditioning, that's a big problem on this team. It has been for years, right? Soft tissue injuries, slow recovery, muscle pulls, strains, tears. They've just ran rampant across this roster for as long as I can remember. But here's the formal announcement on all three of these hires. So once again, the Bears have yet to release a complete list of assistants. Pierre No is expected to be promoted to head strength and conditioning coach. He's been with the team for 8 seasons total and 2 stints, including the last 2 years. We've got Kevin Koch. He was an assistant for the past 3 seasons as a defensive quality control coach, and that's in 23 and 24. He's expected to remain with the Bears as assistant linebackers coach. And a little bit on Koch, he's been kept on staff for last year with a promotion. And prior to joining the Bears, this guy served as the defensive backs coach for Northwestern. And that's where he developed quite a few top tier defensive backs, some really good pros. And then the third hire, we've got Anthony Blevins, a former assistant for the Giants and the Cardinals. He's expected to be named as an assistant special teams coach for the Bears. He's actually a doctor. He received a doctorate in instructional systems and workforce development from Mississippi State. And kind of on a side note too, Blevins is coming off a UFL championship with the Birmingham Stallions. He just brings a wealth of experience to the Bears special teams unit. I really love this hire as well. And kind of looking at where he was before Chicago, extensive coaching career, NFL and college. And I think his most recent position is the special teams coordinator for the New York Giants. He played a really key role. That team special teams was greatly improved. And a little more on Blevins too. This guy's known for his ability to develop and maximize the talents of the players he's given to steward. He excels in coverage units, field goal blocking. That's a nice thing. We'd like to block him instead of having him blocked, right? Just another hungry, young, smart coach to mesh with special teams coordinator Richard Hightower. And looking at his leadership, and he's actually a really innovative coach. He does a lot of innovative techniques, getting to his players to mesh with Hightower. I just think he's a good addition. He's going to elevate our special teams this year and beyond. And they're also expected to make a formal announcement on this whole coaching staff, but it's most likely going to happen leading up to the NFL scouting combine. I just realized something. You know what's completely crazy? The combine starts in only 8 days. I can't believe it. This is just flying by. So what I want to concentrate on, though, is the Pierre No hiring as the new strength and conditioning coach. And I like what Johnson's been doing here. He's been absolutely meticulous building the staff. He really is taking his time to get these hires right. So let's get right to it. Who is Pierre? Pierre No, excuse me. His coaching tree, it's from Rusty Jones. In case you don't know who Rusty Jones is, this guy just retired from the Colts. He was the director of sports performance. This guy just finished a 4-year coaching decade. 4-decade coaching career. He's one of the gold standards in his field, just really well respected. Because if we're going to tout Sean Payton's coaching tree that we're taking from a lot, let's talk about Rusty's as well. Jones was the recipient of the 2016 NFL Strength and Conditioning Lifetime Achievement Award. He was named the 06 National Professional Strength and Conditioning Coach of the Year by the Professional Football Strength and Conditioning Coaches Society. That's a mouthful. And that happened in February of 07. He was also with the Bears in 05 to 07 as the strength and conditioning coordinator. I mean, we can look at it one way. I was pretty surprised that the Bears didn't go outside the organization for help because injury issues have been a problem, right? So instead, fire the boss and promote the assistant. And an assistant who's been in the organization a long time as well. No must have really shown Ben Johnson. He must have really shown him something, shown him that he has a fresh approach to give to the health of this football team. And I'm also going to trust where the coaching tree is from. Rusty Jones is one of the greats. So, and also kind of an insight on Ben Johnson. He must have been really impressed with what No is ready to offer. Hopefully, he has a brand new direction for this team. And that's after the Bears fired longtime strength and conditioning coach Jim Arthur. And I think moving away from him is more than just like this specific room and specific move. Even if it's to promote a longtime assistant, I think this is a really good thing. Because if you've been following this team, the Bears have been really hesitant to rock the boat in the past with some key under the radar guys like the strength coach, guys like Arthur. They've been hanging on from regime to regime to regime. Ben Johnson has completely cleaned house. He's being meticulous, and it shows the control he's having over this team roster and this team staff. I mean, loyalties are no longer being prized over performance. So we've got Arthur out, No in. And as Bears fans, I mean, once again, this is refreshing. This is something we're not used to. And we're also looking at relationships too. Now, these two guys, Ben Johnson and Arthur, are ex-strength and conditioning coach. It kind of sounds like a law firm, right? Ben Johnson, Ben and Arthur, Johnson and Arthur. Never mind. They have a relationship as they were both on staff together with the Miami Dolphins for 3 years. That's their relationship. And beyond that, Arthur also had a really extensive history with the Bears. He got hired twice to head up this department. Many, many years there. Very well thought of. And guess what? This is further evidence that things are changing with the Bears because, I mean, Johnson, he looked at the results, and regardless of how things have been done in the past or his personal relationship with someone, he looked at it and said, change needs to happen. This just is not good enough. And with that, he's also willing to look at the talent already on staff with Pierre No and keep the guys that fit. Same thing with Hightower. Same thing with our tight ends coach, Jim Dre. Just not throwing the baby out with the bathwater is what I'm saying. Just really being meticulous and also evaluating your own talent. Now, beyond that part, I've been watching games recently, just like you guys have. The Bears have really gotten pushed around in the trenches, especially the offensive line. They just couldn't hold up. And I really hope No has some new ideas compared to the previous regime. And the injured reserve numbers over the last 3 seasons, those haven't been encouraging. Let me share them with you. 24, 15, and 13, respectively. Many of those on the offensive line. I think these guys just need to get stronger and in turn less prone to injuries, right? But the details that Ben Johnson is taking control of. He's cleaned out the analytics department head to the team's mental performance and leadership coordinator being a prominent position in the building, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Andy Reese. And now let's go ahead and move in a different direction when it comes to making our players healthier and stronger. Pierre No is part of that. He illustrates that. And it's concentrating on these smaller departments, these little details of the team. In the end, the devil is in the details, right? This will pay out. So a little bit about No. He was with the Bears from 2015 to 20. He worked on staffs previously, led by John Fox, Matt Nagy. That was during his first stint in Chicago. And then he rejoined the Bears under Matt Eberflus, making this the 3rd different Bears regime for him. Now it's a 4th. But let's look at it honestly. He's never been the guy in charge. I'm also really interested to know the direction that he presented to Ben Johnson, what his plans are, how they diverge from what Arthur was doing, right? But his previous stints have been in his as a strength and conditioning assistant. Now he's moved up after the firing of Arthur last month. He will be one of the few holdovers on Ben Johnson's new staff, and I've already kind of covered that. And prior to the Bear job, No spent 2 seasons with the New York Jets, first as a strength and conditioning interim in 12, and then as an assistant strength and conditioning coach in 13. And kind of sandwiched between his NFL experience, he served as a strength and conditioning coach at Arizona State University, also at UCLA in 2014, working with the Bruins football program. And I'm talking about as well his year with the Arizona State University team. He served there as assistant strength coach for the Sun Devils football program, also oversaw ASU women's football, women's tennis, and men's golf teams. And then from 2009 to 11, he worked at Philippi Sports Institute in Vegas, and he has experience training NFL, MLB, MMA, and youth athletes. So he has a pretty diverse set of experience. Uh, I can't really say for sure if he is a good hire. I can say a lot about the other two coaches, but what I do really like and why this is a pivotal move is that the Bears aren't okay with the status quo. We've seen a cleaning of the house. We've seen guys that have just hung on from regime to regime to regime, no longer have that loyalty with ownership and the familiarity aspect trumping absolute performance and how the team is performing, resulting from their coaching and their input. I think just out with Arthur, in with no. It just signifies that Ben Johnson has a ton of control over this team. And also, the Bears are still willing to try something different. I'll let you know if I hear any more about what No's plan is for strength and conditioning. That's a little different than Arthur's. No one has really given a word on that. I'm going to trust Ben Johnson on this. He continues to hire coaches that are hungry, humble, and smart. Coaches that are younger, coaches that are ready to just grind it out. And all intents and purposes, all the signs point to No being one of those guys. You guys let me know. Bear down, and we'll talk soon. See you.